In project-wise, we're going to open the file that contains your civil geometry. They may also be referenced in. In this video, we're going to show how to create XML reports and XML files for the electronic deliverables. In this drawing, we have several different alignments. We have the Bighorn existing alignment. We have a couple of ramps in here, and then we have a Route 50 alignment in this particular drawing. Currently, I'm in a civil geometry file, which should have plans and profiles for most of these. Some of these may reside in a different file, and if you let your mouse rest on any of these lines, they will tell you what file they're in. But it doesn't really matter if they are in this file or not, unless you need to do some things with the profile. For this one, let's take a look at the profile for ramp number 4. I'm going to open up the profile window for this particular ramp. I'm going to left click inside window 8. And you can see that ramp 4, currently I have a ramp 4 PR, which is the active profile, and then I have an unnamed profile. If you want your profiles to come over in the XML along with the horizontal, you'll have to have a name on that profile. So currently, if I were to export this entire drawing as an XML, I would get the ramp 4 horizontal and this ramp 4 PR profile. So what I want to do is give the existing ground profile a name. So I'm going to click on the properties of it. So you'll left click and hover and get the first tool. And we're going to go into the feature name and type ramp4ex. What that allows us to do is to get the information into the XML. So any profiles that you want to associate with the horizontal geometry, you will have to have a name for that profile. You can also just export the active profile if you want, instead of exporting them all. Once that is completed, we will go into the task menu on the left hand side. We'll go into horizontal geometry, and we are running a report to create this XML. In the first row of horizontal geometry, under the tasks, is the horizontal geometry report. This will also do the profiles for vertical geometry as well. Now out on the screen, the prompt says locate first element. Let's say that I just want to export one item, ramp 4. I can do that simply by left clicking on ramp 4 and moving to a blank area and right clicking. Then it's going to ask how much of this information do I actually want to export. I'm going to export from the beginning to the end, so just hit the Alt key and accept that for the beginning, and hit the Alt key and accept that for the end. The intervals we can do at every 1 foot for a tighter profile, and it's going to create an XML based on that 1 foot interval along our alignment. I'll just do every 1 foot here and then accept that. The profiles that I want to include on this one, instead of just doing the active or none, I'm going to do all the profiles and accept that. And it's going to create a horizontal alignment review report. That's the one that comes up by default. To be able to get an XML out of this, I'm going to go to the alignments to land xml.xsl underneath the civil geometry folder. I'm going to click on that one, and it puts it in the format for creating an XML file. If I scroll down in the right window, you can see all the PVIs for the vertical information. And so there's quite a few of them in this particular profile. And that is the one for the ramp4ex we created. If I had not named that one, it would not have come across. Here is the ramp4pr, the one we created for the proposed ground, and it has a lot fewer PVIs, but it will export out. The horizontal information is at the top for ramp number 4. Okay, so to create that, go to the File pull-down menu, and let's go to Save As. And here you just want to make sure that the folder is set to the right location. If it's not, you can hit the Change button and go down and find your particular folder, usually a data folder. This one's set to the data folder, and click OK on that. That's what the change button does. And then we want to create an XML file here. So under the application, we'll change that to XML data. And for the file name, we're going to do ramp4.xml. And we're just going to copy that down into the file name. Okay. In the Save As type at the bottom, you want that to say TXT file. It is already formatted correctly for an XML. If you change that to XML, it will not work correctly for you. So you just want to make sure it says it's a TXT file. Then we're going to save that, and we can close the report. If we look in ProjectWise, you can do an F5 in ProjectWise and see the ramp4.xml in our data folder. Since it's in ProjectWise, do a precautionary thing, right-click, update server copy, and then we'll be able to upload it and be able to select it. Just make sure it's there. Then we'll show how to import. So we're going to go to the File pull-down menu and click New. This just proves that the XML works, and this is something I would do to make sure the XML is in good shape. Let's call this one ramp4.dgn, and it's going to go to the same project directory that I'm currently working in. So go and create this 2D file, and we're going to check in the civil geometry file, and this opens a blank file, and so there's nothing in this file. The way that I can check to make sure the XML file was created correctly is to go to the General Geometry underneath the Tasks on the left. Then we can import geometry. In my list, you should have the ramp4.xml within the data folder. You can choose that and click Open. And you should get something that looks like this. It has our alignments in it for our ramp4, and it's got our ramp4 profile, so I can bring those in. And we're going to make sure Create Civil Rules is turned on, and go ahead and import that. And then we can fit the view, and you can see you have the ramp4 in there. I want to take a look at the profiles that came across, and we can do that with the Heads Up tool. Left click on the ramp and open up window 8, and you can click in there, and now you have both the profiles as well as from the XML. I'm going to go back to the civil geometry file and show how to get more than one out. It's basically the same tools that we just did, but we're going to select more items. Once I go into that file, I'm going to go over to the task again under horizontal geometry, and I'm going to pick on that reports tool. The reports tool says locate the first element. Last time we did just one alignment. This time we will click on all the ones that we have so that they'll come across. And as you can see, we have several in here. They have even come from a different file. Ramp 1 is in the plan DGN, but I can select it. And I can select these other items as well. So any alignments out here, I can go ahead and choose them. And then move off into a blank area and right click. The profiles that I want to include, you can do the profiles or maybe just the active profiles. So you can do them all or just the active. I'm going to choose all profiles with land XML. You probably want all your profiles to come across and be imported. So we'll set that to all, and then we'll accept that. That will take a minute. It's looking at all the different profiles plus the ones that are in different files. And then it's going to pull up the horizontal alignment review report, which is the default report we saw earlier. Inside of here, we're going to go over and choose that other report that we have, alignment to landxml.xsl. And we're going to click that one. It's underneath the civil geometry, and it formats it correctly. So all we have to do is click File, Save As, again, and make sure that we are in the right folder location. Change application to XML. This time we will do the alignments-profiles.xml. So go ahead and type that into the name field. And then we're going to copy that down into the file name, and we're going to keep that TXT and click Save. Once that's saved, go back in and create a new file by clicking on File, New. And we're going to call this one alignments_profiles.dgn. And we're going to copy that name there into the file name. And once those are in there, we'll click OK. This will create another new file that is blank and has nothing in it. And we're going to fit the view and see that there's nothing in here. And then under tasks, we're going to go back to that general geometry and click on import geometry. We're going to look for that alignments profiles.xml that we created. If you wanted to, you could update the server copy in ProjectWise before you did that. I know these are okay. What you want to do then is expand each of these out, each of these alignments, so you can see all the profiles. What's good about the XML compared to the GPK is that XML knows what profiles go with what horizontal geometry. So you can import all at one time. As I expand these out, it knows. It doesn't list all the profiles under each alignment. So we can go ahead and pick all of the alignments and import these in. Should just take a minute, but it will import everything. Fit the view and you will see all the alignments. If you want to look at the one alignments profile, you can do that as well. And you can see Bighorn's profile. Left click in the window. And I don't have a GPK for this project, but I could create one. And then I could change these to MoDOT baseline existing and proposed and have it go out to that GPK. That is how you create XML files for your electronic deliverables.